Picture this. You're living in a small, tightly knit village where everyone knows each other's business. One day, your neighbors, people you've shared meals with, people you've trusted for years, start whispering that you've made a pact with the devil. You're dragged before a court where the judges are convinced you're guilty before you even speak, the only evidence against you. A group of young girls who scream and writhe on the floor, pointing at you, claiming you've sent an evil spirit to torment them. If you confess to witchcraft, you might survive, but you'll be shunned forever. If you deny it, you'll hang. This wasn't some dark fairy tale. This really happened. This was the Salem Witch Trials. The year was 1692, and Salem Village, Massachusetts, was a place of strict rules and deep superstition. The Puritans who lived there believed the devil was always nearby, tempting people into sin. When strange things began happening, young girls screaming, convulsing, and claiming they were being pinched and bitten by invisible forces, the town didn't look for medical explanations, they looked for witches. It started with two girls, 9-year-old Betty Paris and her 11-year-old cousin Abigail Williams. They began having violent fits, twitching, dabbling nonsense, hiding under furniture. The local doctor, unable to find a physical cause, declared the only possible explanation: witchcraft. Soon, more girls in the village started acting the same way, and the accusations began. The first 3 women blamed were easy targets. Tituba, an enslaved woman from the Caribbean, told stories of magic and spirits. Sarah Good was a poor beggar who muttered angrily when people refused to help her. Sarah Osborne was an old woman who rarely went to church. All 3 were outsiders in some way, and when Tituba confessed under pressure claiming there were other witches in Salem, the hunt spiraled out of control. What followed was a frenzy of fear and paranoia. Neighbors accused neighbors, children accused adults. People who had grudges against each other saw an opportunity to settle scores. The courts allowed something called spectral evidence, meaning if someone said they saw your ghost or spirit tormenting them, that was enough to convict you. There was no way to defend yourself against an accusation like that. If you kept quiet, you were guilty. If you protested, you were guilty. If you named others to save yourself, you fed that hysteria. Some of the accused refused to play along. Giles Corey, an elderly farmer, was pressed to death with heavy stones for refusing to enter a plea. His final words were said to be, "More weight." Others, like Rebecca Nurse, a respected older woman, maintained their innocence to the end, only to be hanged. The executions weren't quick or merciful. Families watched as their loved ones were taken to Gallows Hill, where they were hanged one by one. By the time the trials ended in 1693, 20 people had been executed, 19 hanged, 1 crushed to death, 5 more died in jail, waiting for trial. But then, almost as suddenly as it began, the hysteria faded. People started to question what had happened. Had they really been fighting the devil, or had they been consumed by fear and lies? The truth is, the Salem Witch Trials weren't really about witchcraft. They were about fear, power, and revenge. Salem Village was a divided place full of land disputes, family feuds, and personal grudges. The strict Puritan religion left little room for doubt or dissent, and when something strange happened, people needed someone to blame. Some historians believe the girls' fits might have been caused by ergot poisoning, a fungus that grows on rye bread and can cause hallucinations and muscle spasms. Others think the girls might have been acting out for attention, not realizing how far things would go. In the end, Salem became a warning, a lesson in what happens when fear takes over, when justice is replaced by panic. Years later, the courts admitted the trials were a mistake, and some of the accused were officially clear, but the damage was done. Families were torn apart, trust was shattered, and innocent people lost their lives. The Salem Witch Trials remind us of something important. In times of fear, people are quick to believe the worst about each other. They show us how easily ordinary people can become caught up in something terrible, convinced they're doing the right thing. And they force us to ask, could something like this happen again? If we're not careful, the answer might be yes. So the next time you hear about the witches of Salem, remember the real story isn't about spells or demons. It's about how fear can turn ordinary people into monsters. And that's a lesson we should never forget.
Hey there, if you're enjoying this video and appreciate the effort behind it, don't forget to like this video. It really helps the channel grow, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss an update. Oh, and one more thing, share this video with your friends. Spread the love and support. Alright, now let's get back to the video. Let me know if you want any tweaks.